for all ex-Japan fans around the world. This video is about their shocking emergence into the Japanese music scene and the impact they had on me as a 12-year-old boy. Hi, I'm CUTT, a Japanese musician mainly active here in Japan. I debuted under the Lemonade label thanks to the fortunate opportunity of ex-Japan's guitarist Hide-san liking my demo tape. I noticed that one of the most viewed videos on my channel is my acoustic cover of ex-Japan's Art of Life, and most of the viewers are from outside Japan. So I thought it'd be fun to make a series of videos about ex-Japan for all of you English speakers. I think their early years can be a bit mysterious for many of you, so in this first video, I talk about it from the perspective of someone who experienced it as just a pure fan at the time. I hope you'll enjoy it. Ex-Japan released their first major album, Blue Blood, on April 21st, 1989. However, I didn't become aware of them until the end of that year. With singles from the album dropping in September and December, their music gradually started reaching a wider audience. Not just heavy metal fans, but people like me too. I was a kid just starting to get interested in playing music, and I have an older brother who's 5 years older than me. He was in a cover band in high school. One day, he was practicing bass guitar with a radio cassette player, and I overheard a song. I can still remember the impact I felt at that very moment. It was the most beautiful piece I'd ever heard. The sound was so dreamlike, and the melody fit the lyrics perfectly. I asked my brother, "Whose song is this?" And he answered, "It's X." And the song was Endless Rain. Because the song was so beautiful, I imagined they must look very soft and elegant. But to my surprise, the reality was quite opposite. They didn't look like as they are now. When I first saw them, it was way too much of a visual shock for a 12-year-old kid. They had heavy makeup, and the brightly dyed hair was standing straight up toward the sky. I was so shocked that I even refused to accept it at first. Honestly, I thought, maybe this just isn't for me, no matter how great their music is. But then I found out that a TV program featuring ex-Japan was going to air, so I decided to watch it. I wanted to see for myself what they were really like. The TV program aired footage from their latest show, their first performance at Budokan, the legendary venue in Japan. As I watched, I gradually began to understand why they looked the way they did. I realized they weren't dressing like that just to stand out. Instead, they were expressing their inner core through their appearance just as much as through their music. Their performance was so powerful and it perfectly matched their look. But another shock was waiting for me. The vocalist, Toshi-san, started doing the MC, and he was hyping up the crowd intensely. I was used to rock bands having more polite MCs, so this was a total shock. He called us "Omaera," which is a bit of a rough way to say "you guys" in Japanese. If you called your teacher, parents, or anyone you didn't know like that, you'd get in big trouble. So yeah, I was pretty shocked. And he didn't say the usual things like, "We'd be happy if you liked our music." Instead, he was commending us like, "Jump," or "Do it," or even "Take off your clothes." I was a bit surprised, but their performance really drew me in, and I gradually got completely absorbed in the TV. And after all this intense interaction between the band and the audience, the big moment came. They paused the song in the middle and kept asking us, "We are..." And the audience would shout back, "X." After a few repetitions, Toshi-san asked, "You are." And we all yelled, "X." Honestly, I wasn't sure at first. I thought, am I X? Are you X? Yeah, they are X, but aren't we just fans? Or something like that. But when he kept asking, "You are, you are," I was completely overwhelmed, swept up in the energy and the sense of unity we all felt. So without thinking, I began to respond, "X." After that, Toshi-san shouted, "All right, we are X." That's when it hit me. The first "We are X" was for the band, but by asking "You are," they made us feel like we were all part of it too. And when Toshi-san finally yelled, "Okay, we are X," it wasn't just about the band anymore. It was about all of us, the fans, the band, being one, sharing the same destiny, It was like we're all united in this moment. Till today, they had broken down many barriers, but the first time I saw it was when they broke the barrier between the band and the fans, me. So, after finishing watching that TV program, I had officially become X and my career as an X fan had begun. At that time, there was no internet or social media like today, so word of mouth played a huge role. As a fan, I really wanted to introduce X to my friends at school and spread their music. But it wasn't that easy at first. I know they'd face the same kind of resistance because of their looks and performance style. So I thought, okay, let the music do the talking. I managed to convince a guy in the broadcasting club to play one of X's songs during lunchtime at school. I asked him to play Endless Rain to impress my friends with its beauty. So I was waiting in the classroom with my friends, very excited to see their reaction. I was expecting to hear the song's general string intro, but instead, I suddenly heard some rough breathing from the speaker. And then a super fast song started. That guy in the broadcasting club accidentally played Orgasm instead. If you know the song, you know it's the fastest, the most intense track on the album. As you can imagine, it wasn't exactly the perfect choice for a lunchtime soundtrack. It was like the song was urging us, like, eat, eat, eat. But to my surprise, they ended up really liking the song, so it all worked out in the end. As I grew older and talked to many X fans, I learned that similar things were happening in schools throughout Japan. X was already being recognized as an extraordinary super rookie in the Japanese heavy metal scene even before their debut. The indie-released Vanishing Vision album went on to record unprecedented sales. After releasing several major label tracks, they gradually started gaining popularity with mainstream audiences as well. I think their TV appearances played a big role in that. Before their debut, they had appeared on a few variety shows, but they weren't really taken seriously as musicians. However, everything changed completely once people started listening to their music. One TV appearance that really stands out in my memory was when the band leader Yoshiki-san appeared on a popular show called Tetsuko no Heya, which means Tetsuko's Room, hosted by the famous Tetsuko-san. The program is kind of a status symbol in Japan, mostly watched by older audiences rather than younger generations, so it's not the type of show where rock bands typically appear. That showed us that a band already had respect from people, and I was so proud as a fan. Within X's infinite possibilities, the first aspect presented was the surprising duality. Fast-paced thrash metal and the solid classical music background. The program really showcased both sides, the vivid looks, the melodious yet fast thrash metal sound, and the other side with slow piano ballads and a strong classical music foundation. I think this program was a big success in introducing X's appeal to a wider audience. But the funny thing was how Tetsuko-san kept focusing on the fact that Yoshiki-san could beat the bass drum at 800 beats per minute. Yes, that's a real fact, and definitely one of the unique things about X music, but he wasn't doing it as some kind of athletic achievement. It was all about musical expression. Still, it was hilarious to watch her keep repeating,
"It's amazing that you can beat the bass drum 800 times per minute,"
over and over again. I really loved how the music had such a solid classical background. It sounded so cool to me. For example, in songs like Rose of Pain from their debut album and Alive from an earlier release, Yoshiki-san played well-known classical motifs on the piano or pipe organ and fused them with thrash metal style arrangements through his drumming and the band's performances. And that's not all. I really liked how all the band members were incredibly talented and independent. Blue Blood is truly an album full of variety, showcasing, for example, guitarist Hide-san's bright American-style hard rock, guitarist Pata-san's fast riffs and guitar solos, bassist Taiji-san's funkiness and technical bass work, which even extends to double-handed tapping, and vocalist Toshi-san's raspy yet beautiful voice. Everything came together in perfect synergy, and the result was pure awesomeness. That fusion was a huge part of what made X stand out in the Japanese music scene. They weren't just loud or fast. They were creating something completely unique and new. Today, I shared my perspective on X's early days in Japan as a fan. In the next video, I'll do a song analysis and breakdown of Endless Rain, the very song that made me fall in love with their music. I'll approach it from a musician's perspective, diving into some musical theory and exploring how the music perfectly fits the lyrics. I think it'll be interesting, so I hope you'll check it out. Also, if you have any topics you'd like me to cover or thoughts on this video, feel free to leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. I would really appreciate it. On this channel, I'll continue posting my original music, cover performances, and other content in Japanese. But I'll be adding English subtitles, so I hope you'll enjoy them too. If you like this video, I'd be so happy if you could hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you so much. See you next time.